things like I'm not totally bought in on the NFT thing, but it could happen. And what people are saying, like, we're not going to need labels anymore. Even like NFTs will be
yes and no. Like popularity has to make those kind of things worthwhile, because a popular artist does not need a record label. A popular artist gets with a record label because a record label has worldwide reach. Now,
right, that's true. The record label only picks up artists that already have a fan base, right? They're looking at the numbers, and that's it.
Yeah, exactly.
They don't play gamble. They don't gamble anymore. They just say, "Oh, popular, done. You're on my roster."
You don't. Well, look, as a major label, everything you do is a gamble. Nothing's guaranteed, but it's all about it's the calculated risk. So if I sign 2 artists and one artist brings in $7 million a year and the other artist brings in $2 million a year, okay, well, most people are going to say, wow, that's great. And me, I'm going to say, I'm a $1 billion company. That's not great. This person right here is their trajectory is to make about 30 million in the next 5 years. And this person is going to make about 7 million in the next 5 years. That's not great, at least for the 7 million person. But the reality is that 7 million person could do something crazy that could turn them into the 50 million, the 30 million person in the same amount of time. That's what happens when we take calculated risks, because now that person, I could walk into that office and say, hey, you need to get it together. You need to be creative and do something different, or I'm going to have to let you go. That person could literally do anything wild that we've all seen artists do for the last God knows how many years. And now they're popular on a worldwide level because they did something either extraordinary or something that was just so incredibly wild or so incredibly dumb and stupid that we took notice of it. And now here they are on the world stage. Mm-hmm. That's the entertainment world we live in. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
And so for us, we if you really want to talk the business side of it, we as engineers are a safer bet, because all you have to do is just keep making sure that I stay full of work. That's it.
Yeah.
Like if you got to pay me royalties anyway, well, you just keep the money coming and I'll keep the money coming.
Right. It's much more, totally stable.
Yeah, we're a safer bet.
We do what we're doing at a certain level, and if we just keep at it and we keep working, we're just going to get better with time. There's nothing to worry about. You know what I mean? That's
exactly what it is. And then on top of that,
we're not trying to be a star or we're just trying to like serve the music, and that's totally
the cool
doable,
part about it. And then on top of that, on top of all that, the better the engineer, the more genres of music the engineer can work in.
Right.
So it's not even like it's just good money. We could make you a lot of good money in a lot of different areas
and get rid of all the freelance hassle.
There you go.
Yeah.
Look, man, it's like having a really good job. Just lock me down and I'll be there.
Right. You're in it for the music. You're not in it for like the freelance life, basically.
Yeah, of course not. Hey, look, man, I need balance. Having a place that I can call home, aka work, or work at home. Hey, consistency is key. Consistency is beautiful for everyone involved.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm totally finding that if I could get a good routine, a good schedule, have compartmentalized my life in a good way.
Yeah.
Like also the studio and also the personal. Like that when I have my things in order, I feel happy.
Yes. Oh my God.
But I think we're coming from very similar kind of like order versus chaos kind of a place. I don't know if everybody's exactly like us,
the older I get, the more I realize, yes, most people are. They just didn't get a chance to chase their dreams. That's all.
Could be. Yeah. Dude. Wow, man, this has been one hell of a conversation. I love it. Thank you for everything you're sharing. I do want to, before we wrap up, and just because it's getting late here, I do want to do a Saw segment. And so you sent me a song called TikTok by James Worthy and Big Gip. So,
oh yeah,
how about we listen to that for about 90 seconds and talk a little bit about that?
Go for it.
You don't know what's in store. 'cause you woke me up, and I will show you to love the real things that I like to give you all night. No wrongs and no rights. Hold you so tight.
She looking for love, I'm open like Six Flags. I don't love little mama, but I like car rubies and emeralds, amethyst and the pink stone. 2021 500 with the Benz on it. Topaz blue, coupe, 5 colors, Gift Flintstone. 5-star, looking at the moon in the booth in the sky bar. Yeah,
Wow, man,
yeah.
dude, like just what a vibe. Like it's like super atmospheric, and vocals sound amazing. And what I really loved about it the most was the just like the low end. Just like there's a ton of like different things happening in the low end almost, and you kind of like sorted them all out to kind of work together. That was kind of the vibe I was getting. Yeah, tell me a bit about that track.
Let's see. Me and James, we've been working now for probably about a good almost half the year now. So I've now become his go-to mixing engineer. He tracks all his stuff himself unless he's on the road. Get recorded at his studio, and for that record they just sent me the vocals. Running it, what is it? So here was the cool thing with that record. So at first they sent me the beat for the record, and the producer, he was like, you know what, I like what you did, but he's like, but there's a certain way I want the record to sound, and because of time restraints, he couldn't be here at the studio. So I was like, okay, well, send me the 2-track. So he sends me the 2-track, and I'm just like, all right, cool. So I've developed different techniques on how to process a 2-track. There's 3 plugins that I use. The first plugin that I use is Ozone 8's Imager. You can use Ozone 9. Excuse me. And I will go have everything split off into 4, and then turn on the learn feature, and then just hit the play button. And what it does, it automatically moves the bands to where it feels that they need to go like in the best place. And what I do is I'll take the low mid band, and I will just listen to the music and start turning that up. And then I just get this nice little width to the record in the low mids. And then from there, I don't touch the high mids, the high, or the low.
Really?
Yes. And that helps. Like what you were saying with the low, as like you can hear that kind of movement going on, you got to realize it's the low mids, not the lows. The lows usually are pretty nice and solid, but the low mids now have the ability to have motion in them, and everything lives in the low mids. The top of the kick lives in the low mids, the top of the bass, the vocal parts, and I'm just doing this to the beat. You know what I mean? But this is the part where you get that movement of the music.
Wow. So what do you remember what frequency that was that you kind of boosted? It was like 300-ish?
It was again, it does it by a band. I'm sorry. It does it by the band, and it does it like in like a little square sectioned off as the bands are moving. I just let it automate and do its thing, and I just boosted it till it sounded nice.
Wow.
Yep.
That's it. And it's just a 2-track.
Yeah.
2-track and vocals.
Yep.
No shit.
My mix bus is my hardware, so still going through the Cayenne summing box, so that's 16 ins and outs, and then 16 ins, 2 outs, and then from there the West Audio Dione, from the Dione into the IGS rubber band, which is basically a solid state mastering Pultec, and then from that into the Clairphonic, and then from the Clairphonic to the Pure 2 back inside the DAW. I have my Jason Joshua mix bus still, so it's still going to Ozone 4 with all his presets set up on it, and then on to FabFilter Pro L2 at a threshold of +5, and I mix into that directly. And for this particular record, it worked enough, and what my mix is, what you hear, the master is my mix.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
no mastering. There's mix and mastering.
Yeah, right. So. There was no mastering engineer needed for the record, so they liked it the way it was, and that's the one that's out that you're hearing right now.
No shit. And I mean, it sounded like totally immersive, like the vocals inside the track. You know what I mean? For a 2-track mix, that's hard. So, did you have to do any like scooping or like I don't know anything in particular to kind of help the vocals kind of sit nicely in that track?
There's
pull it up, make the vocals sound nice. Balance it out.
You know what it was? So I'm very big on vocals.
Stereo bus.
Like, yeah, well, that too, but like I'm very big on making vocals like in your face. So for James, he's like, no, I want it to be like more in the music. So getting the vocals just to sound nice and in your face is not that hard for me. For me, it became, okay, I'm just gonna have to turn these down to where he likes it. And that's really that's all it really came down to, just turning it down to where it's still in your face, but it's in your face because I'm doing boosts in the good areas and good frequencies that the vocal needs to pop out over the music. So turning it down doesn't stop it from popping out more. It just turns it down. You know what I'm saying? It's still still being heard. I'm very, very big on mid-side processing. So like background vocals, the beat, same thing with the beat. Like with the beat, I'm sorry, you know what? I lied. There's 4 plugins. The last plugin is usually FabFilter Pro Q3. And when I'm getting to the end of a mix, what I like to do is I'll sit there and listen to what frequencies are clashing with the vocal. And then I'll make those cuts in the beat itself.
Right, yeah.
But because it's FabFilter Pro Q3, I can highlight all those dots where I made those cuts, and I can turn them all to mid. And now in the middle, it's cut, so you can hear his vocal come through a little bit. And then the places where I feel like it might just be enough or too much or not enough, I can go ahead and boost on the sides now. So that way that kind of fills in those little gaps that let his vocal cut through, and at the same time lets the sides and the rest of the music feel like they're more expansive.
Yeah, love it. Yeah, the mid-side and the Pro Q3 is such a magical plugin.
Oh,
you literally do everything with that. Now with the dynamic EQ, someone called it the millennial EQ.
Dude, it really is. Like if it came stock with every DAW, no one would ever complain.
Yeah, no one would. Exactly. It does everything you need to do and more. And any other in terms of like Gibbs vocals, any interesting processing? Kind of get
Gibbs
that one.
Vocals
had a nice character to it.
Gibbs vocals were interesting. So I had to use a nice amount of what is that plugin called? Soothe. So I had to use Soothe 2. They came in a little harsh, but again, Soothe 2 does an amazing job on that. And getting so for me, EQ is a very big thing for me, just to get vocals to sit where they need to be where they need to be, and sound as good as they need to sound. With that being said, getting vocals to pop for me is very much in the parallel world. So I have four little parallel processes for my lead vocals that help me get that tone for that vocal that sits really, really, really cool. And then that way, no matter how I turn the volume up or down, it'll always have that tone. And that's always like beautiful. But this record, I want to say I did my my Ozone 9 trick. So I want to say that's what I did for this record. Actually, you know what? It is what I did. So I used 2 Ozone 9s on this record. One right after the other on the mix bus. Yep.
What is it? What, just like a preset or
no?
What do you do?
I went to the advance button. I pressed the advance button and I let it do its job.
Oh shit! Just the AI learning.
Yep. Go to the loudest part. Let it go ahead and do its job. So any place that might be deficient or that I might need some help in, it takes care of it. And then after that, I went and I was like, okay, I threw on a second one, and that was more of the tone part. And that's the one I'm adjusting. So I let the AI do its job again. And I'm like, cool, let me hear the low end. Let me get that tight. Let me hear where is the dynamic EQ dipping at? Why is it dipping there? Is it taking anything away? Is it helping out? Is it more of a crutch? How? And then from there, it's kind of like I'm learning what the